Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be making your woman your mommy. Never a good idea. Well, I've got an email here from a viewer, and he basically struggled with making his woman his mommy. In other words, letting her make all the decisions, decide where they were going to live, what they were going to do, and he did everything that she wanted, but yet she still dumped him and broke up with him and gave him excuses that really didn't make a lot of sense to him. So before we get into his email, I got a quote that I wrote on this particular topic. I'm going to go through that, and then we're going to go through his email. And the quote says, "Women want men to have a purpose and mission that they love and are passionate about. They don't want to be the leaders in a relationship or tell or teach men how to be men. If a man is not comfortable leading, being decisive, being ambitious and goal-oriented, making decisions, making plans for dates, and inviting his woman to join him, she will grow to resent him, not trust his masculine core, and move into her unnatural masculine essence to make up for his weakness. This will lead to the loss of her sexual attraction to him. Men who try to make their women their mommies so they can tell them what to do, instead of being their masculine lovers, will find themselves being unexpectedly single again." So let's go ahead and just jump right into his email. He says, "Hey Corey, so I dated this girl for 4.5 years. We met in our hometown in Florida, and she moved to California with me at our 3-year anniversary mark of being together. After a 1.5 years of living together, she broke up with me and moved to LA all by herself. Before she moved to California, she always wanted to become an actress and was acting on the side while living in Miami. She quit her job due to personal reasons and then moved in with me. She picked a location for our first apartment and started a part-time job and commuted to LA for auditions. Well, notice how she moved in with you, and she sounded like she was kind of submissive in the beginning, and she was comfortable with you leading the relationship. But it's like slowly over time, you just kind of became passive and let her decide everything. It's like she picked the location for the apartment. In other words, she's just slowly and surely and methodically over time just basically, in essence, became the man in the relationship. And you eventually ended up just basically following her lead. You stopped being the leader. And when a guy does that, eventually the woman's going to lose respect, she's going to lose attraction, and then decide that she needs to live on her own." He says the commute got to her, and she asked if I could get transferred to LA. I thought it was a great idea, knowing that I would be doing the same job. The transfer didn't happen fast enough, and that caused arguments to happen. Well, men who understand women never argue with them. They communicate in a loving, mature adult manner. He says, "For the first year living together, it was rough, mainly because of the stress of moving, the depression she was going through, red flag, her family divorce, and unhappiness with her job." So you're basically living with a woman who's not happy, who's suffering from depression, and on top of that, you're basically letting her be the man in the relationship. It's not a good combination for happiness. Remember, choose very carefully the person that you're going to spend your life with, because 95% of your happiness or your misery is going to come from that one decision. And it sounds like she's adding more negative things to your life than she's adding positive things, just because she's going through a difficult time, and on top of that, she's depressed and not happy. And it's not your job to fix her or to become her therapist. Ideally, you want a woman who's got her shit together, who takes care of herself, who's already happy. He says it didn't help that I was traveling 3 days a week on average for work as well, and with all that going on, our schedules were tight, and I wasn't bringing the fun into her life as I did for the first 3 years. So right then and there, it's an admission that basically you stopped being the leader in the relationship, and then instead started being the follower. And that's how you get yourself friend-zoned and dumped. He says, "My priorities were cloudy, my job became demanding, and I took this woman for granted." So you stopped dating and courting her, which is what a lot of guys do. In other words, the love story kind of stopped, and you basically became roommates. You no longer were hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. Instead, You were hanging out, weren't having a lot of fun together, and probably weren't doing a lot of hooking up together either. And like I talked about in a video I did recently, the couple that plays together stays together. And it doesn't sound like there was a lot of fun happening between you guys. He says, our relationship was more good than bad, and the breakup was hard for both of us. I helped her move to LA, and we kept in contact on a weekly basis. That usually means, and I continued to chase her and reach out to her and change her mind and get her to come back to me. He says, we would hang out on the weekends, but soon after, she would text me that we shouldn't be seeing each other. That's nice. You go and you spend the weekend with her, and she goes, you know what, we really shouldn't be spending time together. That's just a nice, loving thing to say. We had a nice weekend together. Oh, by the way, we shouldn't be seeing each other anymore because we're not together anymore. He says, for almost 2 months, we have been seeing each other on and off. She tells me that she's confused and needs her space. When a woman says she needs space, what does that tell me? That you're chasing, you're pursuing, trying to get her back, and she's pushing you away. Whereas a guy should be focused on his mission, his purpose, and doing something that he loves for a living. And just like he said here, it wasn't happening. He was in his masculine for the first several years of the relationship, but once he moved to LA and basically became the woman in the relationship, things really went downhill fast. And on top of that, he wasn't happy. Why? Because he's moved to LA, and that's not really where he really wants to be. He was only doing it because he was trying to make her happy. This is pleaser mentality. The only reason you should have moved to LA is because you really wanted to live there. You thought it'd be a great city, a cool city to live in. You were excited about it. But I'm not seeing that in your email. He says, after 3 weeks of no contact, she contacted me, but she claimed that it was only because she had a question about an online business that we started together. We met up, grabbed dinner, and talked, but somehow it always ended up with us talking about our relationship. In other words, you kept bringing it up instead of creating an opportunity for sex to happen, that's what a man is supposed to do in the courtship. Hang out, have fun, hook up. That's why I put together that simple formula to keep guys focused on what's really important. Instead, you get together, you hang out, and you're basically focused on, why aren't we still together? Why aren't we in a relationship? What do we got to do to get back into a relationship? Instead of just hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. She wanted to talk, say, you know what, honey? Grab a bottle of wine, come on over to my place, we'll make dinner together. That's what you should have done. She dumped you. She blew you off. Why are you going to her? Why are you chasing her? Let her come to you. Let her earn you back, but you're not doing that. He says, since the breakup, I got a new job in LA. I fixed my issues, and I moved on. We had very limited contact, and she claims that she is over me as well. So in other words, you're still reaching out to her, and she's just not that into you anymore. She still gives me the vibe that she's still angry at me every time we meet. The reason that she's angry at you is because you stopped being a man. You stopped being the leader, and instead you started acting like a woman. So she resents that. Women become bitchy when the guy is not acting like a masculine leader. And when you become a pleaser and you're always kissing her ass and you're calling her and you're chasing her and you're reaching out to her, when she blew you off and moved out, you're still acting like a woman. She doesn't respect you, and that's why she acts that way. Because she's being that way so in hopes that you will grow a set of balls and be a man and say, you know what, don't talk to me like that. If you're not going to be nice and sweet and loving, then we probably shouldn't talk anymore. Give me a call when you want to be sweet and loving and kind and appreciative to me. He says, when we do meet, I try to never talk about the past and just have the best time possible. Well, that's a good thing. He says, we started off as friends and dated for 6 months in the beginning and had more in common than anyone I had met before. My question is, should I continue seeing this girl and try to have the best time possible, or should I really just walk away? Well, if you've been following what I teach, you should walk away and never look back. But if you do hear from her, assume she wants to see you and make a date at your place. Make her come to you for the first 2 to 3 dates. Don't go pick her up. Don't meet her out. Don't do any of that stuff. Remember, she tossed you aside like you moved across the country because you thought it's what this girl wanted. That's what she said she wanted. And you did that, and she still dumped you. You got to get back to being a man, dude. You got to get back to being that fun, playful guy who is focused on his mission and his purpose in life. That's the guy she fell in love with originally, and you stopped being that guy. He says she's a cool girl, and we were all we had when we first moved to California. And notice what he says here. I feel like there is nothing left for me in California, and I'm contemplating moving back to Florida, but part of me wants to stay in California. In other words, the only reason you're there is for her. And the only reason you're thinking about staying there is because you're hoping that she'll want you back. That's just a bad way to go. If you don't want to be there, get the fuck out of there and move back to Florida or wherever else you want to be. Do what makes you happy. And if she wants to hang out and have fun and hook up, great. She can come to you. At some point, you got to grow a set of balls and start being your own man and live your life that makes you happy. That's why she's pissed off at you, because you stopped being that guy. You started doing things because you thought it's what she said she wanted. But what was really going on, you were sacrificing your happiness, your needs, your wants, your goals, and giving up all that stuff because you thought it would make her happy. And at the end of the day, you weren't the one that wanted to be an actor. That's what she wanted. If she wanted to commute to California, hey, I'll support you and I love you through it, babe, but I don't want to live in California. It's a great place to visit, but I don't want to live there. That's how I personally feel about California. It's a great place to visit, but I don't want to fucking live there. He says his ex-girlfriend is without a doubt confused and is trying to find the career that will make her truly happy. The best thing that you can do for her is to do what makes you happy. And if she wants to come along and participate in your world, awesome. And if she doesn't, hope that acting career works out for you, baby. He says she claims that she doesn't want any distractions or commitments, and I respect that. Come on, man, I respect that. What you really want is you want her to want you back. But the only way that's going to happen is if you start doing what makes you happy. But instead, you're still waiting around for her to tell you what to do or to tell you that it's okay to get back together again, instead of just doing what makes you happy and moving on with your life. He says, I was never the jealous or needy type, and she knows that, but still claims that I would support her with her acting career. Really? You moved to fucking California. Can't get any more fucking supportive of that. And she's still complaining. That's not what she's complaining about. What she's complaining about is that you're not being a man and doing what makes you happy. And you're putting up with her walking all over you and treating you like a doormat, and saying, instead of saying, you know what, honey, I moved to California to support you in your acting career. And you're still bitching about that? It's like, I don't want to fucking hear about it. You're amazing, and you're beautiful, and you're sexy as hell, and I love spending time with you, but this shit doesn't work for me. I'm not happy out here, and you know what? I'm going to move back to Florida and go do what makes me happy. And if you want to come and visit me from time to time, that would be really great. And if that doesn't work for you, that's okay too. I don't want to hear this attitude. When you call me, I want you to be sweet and loving and kind. I'm not interested in having you beat me up or be abusive to me or complain that I didn't do this or I didn't do that. You know what? I just want to have a good time with you. But if every time we get together, you're just creating this drama and you're complaining, you're bitching, I don't want to hear about it. I just don't have time for it. Life's too short. Be sweet and loving, or it's been great knowing you. I wish you all the best. He says, your videos say that I should just walk away from it, but is that the case for every relationship? In this particular case, when you've been tossed aside, how is chasing her working out for you? How has moving across the country to California worked out for you? It still got you dumped. You did everything that she says she wanted, but yet she still rejected you. The real problem is, dude, you made her your mommy instead of treating her like your lover and doing what made you happy. You gave up your career, or at least working in a place you really liked, and now you're thinking about moving back. So what I would do, if I were you, is do what makes you happy. If that means moving back to Florida, then move back to Florida. If that means moving to Tahiti, shaving your ass and your head, and sitting in a temple and chanting Zen phrases all day long, well, then fucking do that too. Whatever. Do what makes you happy and brings a smile to your face. And if your girl reaches out to you in the future, assume she wants to see you and make a date. Make her come to you, because all this kissing her ass and chasing after her and moving across the country has done nothing but cause her to treat you like a doormat and be abusive and be angry and be bitchy. If you're happy with that, you know what? Keep doing what you're doing. Keep chasing her. Keep waiting around on her to tell you what to do. And a year from now, you'll find out that she's in love with some other guy and is in a relationship with some other dude. And you'll be going, why the fuck am I still out in California? Definitely something to think about. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the Products tab at the top of your screen, and follow the instructions for booking whichever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.